Good day, students. Welcome to class. In our last class, we talked about repeat pattern, where we talked about motif and the different types of drops. The full drop, half drop, mirror repeat, and continuous repeat. Today, our topic is tie-dye. What is tie-dye? Tie-dye is the process of changing the colors of fabric using textile dye. And your fabric must be cotton. So as we explore, I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Good day, students. Welcome to class. In our last class, we talked about repeat pattern, where we discussed the different types of repeat and what a motif is all about. Today, our topic is tie-dye. Tie-dye is the process of changing the color of a fabric using textile dye. There are other types of dye, dye for hair, dye for shoe, but for textile purposes, the textile dye is most appropriate. And this exercise is very technical, creative, and expensive. You could change the color of your t-shirt using the process. And we have a list of fabric and clothes you could dye using the textile dye. Old white t-shirts, new t-shirts, fabrics of light tints, old white and colored shirts of light tones can also work out. Plain bed sheets of light tones, white handkerchiefs, and remember, all the fabrics mentioned above must be of cotton quality. The reason is that cotton material absorbs dye much more than other synthetic material, and the outcome is always wonderful. So make sure the fabric you choose to dye are made of cotton, not synthetic. Have you ever wondered why some fabric has brilliant colors that are very fascinating? What will inform your choice when you decide to buy tie-dye stuff from the market? However, there are some required chemicals for the process. We're going to talk about these chemicals now. Caustic soda is one of them, hydrosulfate, table salt, strings or rope or twine for tying the fabric, then the fabric itself or t-shirt, as the case may be. And of course, you need rubber hand gloves. You also need bowls, tubs, and buckets for the process. Then the measurement, the required measurement depends on the quantity of fabric that you want to dye. You could use 1 portion of caustic soda and 2 portions of hydrosulfate, 1 portion of salt to dye maybe 2 t-shirts or 1 t-shirt, as the case may be. And of course, if you want to pleat, squeeze, stitch, or crumple before tying the fabric, the choice is yours. And when you have made a decision of the quantity of chemicals you want to use, you now pour them into a bowl and pour in boiling water. You pour in water. There are various ways to prepare your t-shirts before dyeing. As I mentioned earlier, you could pleat, squeeze, scroll, crumple, fold, or stitch before tying. You could do 1 or 2 of the above methods. It is a very technical aspect of the process. you need to be creative too. There is need for you to wet the fabric so that the fabric can absorb dye fast. And this also allows the dye to flow into each other when you pour or sprinkle the dye, creating a multicolor effect on your fabric or t-shirt. There is need for you to dissolve the dye stuff in warm water so that there will be no muddle up of the dye stuff. Measure the chemicals as stated above into a tub or bowl. Pour boiling water into the bowl and stir for about 5 minutes. Allow the chemical to stand for another 10 minutes for bonding to take place. Thereafter, you can apply the dye solution by pouring, sprinkling, or immersing the fabric into the dye solution. When you have done this, you can now take the dye fabric out of the bucket or out of the tub and allow it to have contact with air for oxidation to take place. After which you can untie the fabric, rinse in fresh water, your fabric is ready. These are the chemicals, the way they come. There are different trademarks. There are different ways you can find caustic soda in the market. There are different containers depending on the trademark that they come with. You have sodium sulfate. You can see the bag written on it. You can see the heap of sodium sulfate, which we call hydrous. You can see the container of the hydrosulfite, and then you can see the container of the caustic soda, and it's written on it poison because it is highly corrosive. You must not touch these chemicals with your bare hands and must not have contact with your skin because they can be very, very harmful. If you must touch them, you have to wear your rubber gloves. This is table salt, a normal table salt or the cooking salt. We also call it the common salt. Here we have the string or twine for tying. You can see a sample of a fabric that has been squeezed and tied up, ready for dyeing. As this fabric is, it can be immersed. You can pour different colors at different points to create a multicolor effect. These are the materials, how to go about them. Then this is a sample of a dye material. You can see different colors. You can see yellow, orange, red, violet, and blue. And sometimes you can even see the white fabric, the white part of the fabric still appearing. That area has been resisted. So the essence of tying is to resist some areas of the fabric, not to absorb the dye. And that is what creates the pattern or the design that eventually turns out to make the fabric a colorful piece. How would you want to dye your fabric when you're given the opportunity? Would you like to fold, pleat, squeeze, or stitch? Write down the way you want to go about dyeing your stuff. What quantity of fabric do you want to dye? And what ratio of chemical do you think you need to apply? And how long will you allow it stay in the dye solution before you bring them out for oxidation, untie, and then rinse in clear? Now, take a look at these t-shirts. How do you think they were made? What process do you think the artists have taken to create each one of them? They all have different approaches. So make your decision as you choose the one you intend to wear. Now look at these two t-shirts. How do you think they were made? What method was employed? And what are the colors that you can see there? You will agree with me that this tie-dye process is a creative and interesting one. Look at the array of colors and fabric you have here on display. When given the opportunity, what will you do to your fabric, and what colors will you use, and how would you want it to look like at the end of the day? I wish you a good experience in exploring. Try your hands on it and you will see the wonders of dye stuff and the dye materials. Thank you.